Okay. Shalom family, what's good? I'm not going to be too long today because this is not a typical session. This is just a quick debriefing from a discussion that just commenced on Maccabees TV. So for those of you who missed it, y'all can go to Maccabees TV and you can actually check out the dialogue. It was a pretty good discussion. It got heated in a few parts, but for the most part, it was a pretty good discussion. Oh, let me show this off real quick so y'all can see it. See that? Reish Beit Gimel and then Ibri. All right. So I'm showing this because nobody got a piece like this. You see how customized this is? It's RBG Hebrew. Nobody got a piece like this. But as you can see it, you have the red, black, and green on the continent of Africa. But in the area right here where Israel is at, we have a crown and we have this border of blue. You feel what I'm saying? So I showed this briefly in the discussion, you know what I'm saying? But I'm showing you now officially. But when I do the my regular live stream session, I'll speak on that. But shout out to Sister Riri for hooking me up with this piece and customizing it for me. I just got it today. Got it just in time for the discussion. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's a Wednesday evening, Thursday morning. So it's not going to be a lot of people in here because of that. But that discussion was pretty lit. I mean, it peaked over 200 and something people in there. And it was something that was advertised last minute. We just advertised it this week, even though we've been speaking about it for about 2 weeks. In a group chat that we had, a lot of the panel members were in a group chat. But we decided that we're really going to discuss it this week. And we only been promoting it since Monday. So it's only been promoted for what? I mean, officially promoted for the past 2 days. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I just wanted to get in for those of you who was actually on that session. You could definitely give some feedback. I mean, I thought, you know, both sides pretty much, you know, laid down their respective positions in regards to whether we should classify the RBG Hebrews or not. I understand, you know, precisely where, you know, the brothers that do not want to classify as RBG Hebrews, where they coming from. You know what I'm saying? I wholeheartedly understand that. But what I was saying and trying to make the point that everybody in Israel does not have to classify as RBG. That is optional. What I'm saying is there's certain of us who are diplomatic enough to operate under those auspices for the sake of pulling in resources for our community. You understand what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what I was trying to express. You know, I wasn't on there to say that the other brothers are wrong and that, you know, we all need to be RBG Hebrews. I never promoted that. You feel what I'm saying? It's a niche. It's a lane. Everybody has their niche and everybody has their lane. The objective at the end of the day is to ensure that you have a solid foundation that you're standing on before you engage in any aspect of society. You feel what I'm saying? So let me give a couple of shout outs real quick before I commence with this. So I want to say shout out to Derek Ha, Yashar Uriah, Yosef Abdiel Iban Yasharal, Bezalel Yisrael, Mika Israel, Alvin Elmore, Matthew Lewis, Sign of the Times TV HQ, James Cassell, Mattiyahu Yisrael, Cohorts Music, Renisha Coretta, Jashub Issachar, Nisi's PCs, Derek Quay, glory be to the Most High forever, Christopher Harris. All right, peace to y'all. All right. So anyway, like I was saying, the discussion was pretty good. Shout out to the Hebrew Hammer, and it really, you know, despite our differences, the audience really got some insight into the differences as it's portrayed in the community, right? Because it's, you know, those of us who claim the RBG element are the minority in the community. You understand what I'm saying? But we produce tangible results as well as those of us who do not claim or utilize that element of RBG. And one thing that I was trying to convey is that, you know, I don't know what it will take to manifest tangible results for the majority to see that going that route is beneficial to helping to preserve us as a people and establish us as a nation within a nation. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I was bringing up certain examples with individuals such as Daniel, Nehemiah, and Esther. And these are individuals who had diplomatic connections to kings and other, you know, people who are elitists, and utilize these connections to build the community and restore Israel and protect and preserve Israel. You understand what I'm saying? So it's mainly was supposed to be, you know, the establishment of RBG. In the actual dialogue, I went into the history and I brought out, you know, what RBG was, how was it established, you know, similar to like my previous video that y'all seen when I was actually discussing this. You know what I'm saying? Christopher's crazy. So like I said, ultimately, I was just trying to say that it's a vehicle that we utilize in order for us to better build the community of Israel, because technically we are not a nation, right? We don't have the elements that make a nation. We are a people in captivity that's striving to become autonomous at best. You understand what I'm saying? So there are limitations because we're not in the land. We're not in our sovereign capacity. So being that we're scattered and we've been strewn into the four corners of the earth in a modern contemporary environment with different social, political, and economic situations that our forefathers would not have experienced, we have to create a template via the principles that they've left behind and find a way to practically apply it today so we can yield results in this walk. You know what I'm saying? So again, you know, my brother Jashub Ishakar is in the chat, so shout out to him. He was one of the panelists. My brother James Cassell's in the chat. He was also one of the panelists. And they both did a great job. And, you know, we are cool behind the scenes. I mean, we're in a group. We go in the group. We show love and support, etc. You feel what I'm saying? But what we demonstrated is that even though we have those differences, we still have a brotherhood because we all have a common denominator, being that we identify as Israel. You feel what I'm saying? So I would be more inclined to have these type of discussions when it comes to personal matters such as this with those brothers as opposed to people outside of our community. You know what I'm saying? Because they may not share the same values in certain aspects that we do amongst each other. You feel what I'm saying? And the fact that we was able to commence this on our own platform, you know what I'm saying, speaks wonders for what we can accomplish when we do come together as a people. You feel what I'm saying? You know, ultimately, you know, I just wanted to give a shout out to the family. Those of you who maybe had any questions, any points you want to pose in regards to being RBG, what I'll probably do is I'll probably do a separate show on the subject matter if y'all want to discuss it, just as a follow-up. I don't want to try to trump what Maccabees TV did because they did we did an excellent job, and Daniela hosted it pretty well. But I want to give the people an opportunity to jump on a panel and actually discuss their perspectives in regards to the classification with RBG or not, right? So that's why I'm saying I really wanted y'all to actually give your feedback. You know what I'm saying? Those of you who are willing to get on a panel and have this discussion, right? So I just want to do a quick debriefing since the show is already over. And I know it's late, it's after 1, and like I said, it's Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, so a lot of people are probably getting ready for bed. They gotta wake up and go to work tomorrow. But ultimately, you know, my perspective on the RBG thing, like I said again, it is just one avenue in order to get to a final destination that we all are trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who identify as a community in Israel, you know what I'm saying? And well, I'm not sure why he blocks you, but I mean, if you want to ask questions here, I mean, that's fine. I think it was one of the admins that did that for whatever reason, because Danya Allah was the moderator. So I don't think he was responsible for blocking anybody directly himself. So glory be to the Most High forever asks, what's an RBG Israelite? So I did a video, all right, a couple of videos back. I did a video where I actually speak on this, and you can actually go and you know, to the YouTube channel, and you can look at the thumbnail and you can see the video with the red, black, and green banner. And that's the one where I actually speak on it. But RBG Hebrew, RBG Israelite, whatever you want to consider it, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty much an individual that utilizes that moniker so that way they can build with other organizations that also identify with the RBG flag in order to siphon resources back into the community to build and establish us as an autonomous entity. You know what I'm saying? So we work with other organizations that also agree with that same concept. And in doing so, the objective is to truly bring tools so we can actually build ourselves as a quote unquote nation. Because as it stands now, we are not a nation. I mean, people say this all the time that, oh, we are a nation. I'm like, no, we're not a nation. We are not a nation in no way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? The best that we can be is autonomous as a community, right? We're not going to be a full-fledged nation again until the Most High divinely intervenes. In the interim, you know, living day by day and, you know, being able to pass on an inheritance. Scripture says that a prudent man gives an inheritance to his children's children. You know what I'm saying? What are we passing down to the next generations? Are we passing curses down to them? Are we passing debt down to them? Are we passing a lack of resources down to them? Are we passing, well, I wish I could do more to them? What are we giving to the next generation? You know, and that's something that's truly important that we have to address, family. You know what I'm saying? No matter what our background is. I mean, day by day, you know, we deal with life issues. You know what I'm saying? We experience societal ills. You know, I see people all the time. Every time somebody gets shot down, our whole community is up in arms. But nobody talks about the proactivism element that will be responsible for preventing those things from happening. You feel what I'm saying? You know, and when I say preventing, meaning we're not going to stop them altogether, but there's certain things that we can put in place to deduce or minimize that, because that could be your child. That could be your father. That could be your cousin. That could be your uncle. That could be your friend. That could be your coworker. You feel what I'm saying? So those things are extremely important. Kiefer, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't do that per se, because I don't see RBG as something that pertains to a profession per se. I would say just the colors itself and an organizational emblem or symbol would be enough for people to understand, you know, what you rock with. You know, having that in the name, like, you know, like Ron Shields, Esquire, ESQ, or something like that. I don't think that that is appropriate as far as my perspective, because it's not it has nothing to do with a profession or anything that's to do with a professional expertise or anything of that nature. It just has to do with an association or an affiliation to a concept, to a flag that, you know, says, hey, look, you know, you have your personal worldview and your walk, I have mine, but we all have several things that brings us together in common, and that we are in, you know, behind enemy lines in a land that is not ours. You know, as far as when I say land, I mean the nation itself that has taken over the land that's not ours. And we are just trying to establish a degree of autonomy so that way, you know, we can manage our lives day to day. But like I said, you know, I talk about getting involved and placing Israelites in positions of power. You know, just like Esther was, and Nehemiah and Daniel. You know, these were people that had positions with kings, you know, who were, you know, responsible for lording, you know, their day-to-day routines over Israel. But these people was in place, and because of such, the Most High used them to help Israel. You understand what I'm saying? Even the kings of Israel, some of the righteous kings of Israel, for example, Hezekiah, you know, having a seal with an ankh on it. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, these kings, some of them had alliances with Kemet, and some of them had alliances with Assyria and Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Some of them did wicked things, some of them did righteous things. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the ones that actually did righteousness, such as Hezekiah, he had an ankh in his seal. Was he Egyptian? No, he wasn't Egyptian. He wasn't Egyptian, you know, but that was a political move that happened. That's why you see that on his seal or that boule. You understand what I'm saying? So again, nobody's telling us to abdicate or abandon our cultural identity as Israelites or our heritage identity as Israelites. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that us and millions of other individuals have a common oppressor. And we can't keep going to that oppressor all the time for resources in order to sustain ourselves. Because as a nation, you need to have a GDP. As a nation, you need to have an IP. As a nation, you have to import and export resources. As a nation, you need to have all of these things. You need to have your own currency. We don't have none of these things at all. None. But we call ourselves a nation. Nah, we're not a nation. You understand? Shout out to the I Empress in the building, Mercurio Elohim, Eric 817, Sam Bone, and the Black Av 1. So glory be to the Most High forever. You can email me. Right, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. And I have just posted the email address in the chat. All right. I think I got everybody. Shout out to Yah Bless Ute, Andrew Fur, Yuda Israel, Vanessa Satterwhite, Shalom, The Great Awakening, King Sun. All right, you know I always give y'all a shout out, family. So anyway, so at the end of the day is what are you doing for Israel? You know, when people say, man, you doing this RBG thing, but what is it? What can I see? What results can I see that it's yielding? And I tell them, check my resume. You know what I'm saying? Look at my resume. You know what I'm saying? Follow what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And if you do and you see the things that we're doing, then you can say, man, you know what? I see that this person is standing on their square and man, this person is bringing in these resources for the community. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know, that's a niche that they carved out that's beneficial. And not only that, they're becoming a beacon of light to these other individuals, groups, and organizations that we will stay away from. And in doing so, the scripture says that the wealth of sinners is laid up for the righteous. And wealth is not just money. Wealth is resources. So the things that they have is laid up for us. But the problem is we don't want to go and get it. We're afraid to go get it. You know, and somebody said in the group, they said, man, you know, what's the point of us being proactive and doing A, B, and C under this RBG moniker, you know, if we waiting on the Most High? And I said to them, when did the Most High ever tell anybody just sit and wait for him? When the Israelites was in captivity in Babylon, Jeremiah wrote them or sent them a letter on behalf of the Most High and gave them instructions to be proactive until they were called out of Babylon. Do y'all understand that, family? I don't know if y'all do. I don't know if y'all do. But if you do understand that, then you see why the particular approach is necessary. You know, also, we have to be extremely respectful and sensitive to our brothers and sisters. In that discussion, you know, whether shots were thrown my way or not, I got tough skin. I can handle that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, everybody don't have that calling where they got tough skin, where they can, you know, be able to tolerate, you know, certain levels of offense or whatever and still maintain their decorum and their discipline. You feel what I'm saying? And that's something that we all could learn from each other. You know, man, this brother sister was very patient in that situation. Man, this person sister did not respond emotionally or, you know, did not allow the flesh to overwhelm them in that situation. I mean, we have an obligation, those of us who the Most High put in leadership, not the ones that put ourselves in leadership, the ones that the Most High put in leadership, we have an obligation to the community. If my brother or sister does something wrong and it offends somebody else, I apologize on their behalf because I'm their keeper. People say, yo, Divine, why are you apologizing for something somebody else did? I said, because these people are my brothers. So if they do something that's offending the community at large, I want them, the community, to know that we will take that responsibility on ourselves as leaders for other leaders in the community. We will take that burden. I have no problem bearing that burden on behalf of that brother and sister because they may have had a moment. They may not have been aware of whatever things they may have said or done that was destructive to everybody else. But you know what? That brother and sister still need somebody to be there to say, look, you know what? Hey, you messed up. You really did. And the Most High more than likely is going to get at you. But in the process, I got you. You know what I'm saying? The scripture tells us how to be diplomatic in that sense. So being that the Most High is telling us how to be diplomatic in that sense, we have to have that obligation to say, I'm my brother or sister's keeper. If my brother or sister falls short, I'm going to reach out to them and see what I can do. If they've offended others, I'll apologize on their behalf, because that may spare their life. That may spare their integrity. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to think like this if we're going to continue to survive as a nation and cover, you know, each other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, family, I'm just saying, when we're able to think on that level, then we can really say that, oh, we're really a nation. You feel what I'm saying? And we cannot be so prideful not to only admit our flaws, but to go to a brother and say, you know what, thank you for covering me. The scripture says that love covers a multitude of sins. It does. But how many of us are willing to be that covering for our brother and our sister? See, nation building starts with simple building blocks like that. Before you can get a great edifice, you got to start with simple building blocks. And if y'all can't do that, then it's very difficult for us to even say anything. Matter of fact, certain brothers and sisters was turned off because of what occurred. But at the end of the discussion, I apologize again for our community, for the leadership, for the panel. I apologize again. And if people want to get mad at me for that, then so be it. But in order to display our means of garnering respect from the nations, when we've been surnamed by Yah, we have an obligation to maintain his character before the nations. And it starts first at home within our own community. We can disagree, you know, we can get upset, we can get heated, but at the same time, there should be a limit. And if we cannot do it, we must allow the Ruach to limit us. Ruach, limit me if I get too far. If I say this or if I do that, restrain me, Yah. You know why, Yah? Because your name is on the line, not me. I'm the vessel. Your name is on the line, Yah. So if you see me get out of hand, please get a brother or sister. Bring them in my life to pull me aside and say, yo, Divine, Safa, Yah, Ron, you know, you wild out. You understand what I'm saying? But you know what? I went out there and I took it for you. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I held you down, because the leaders are vulnerable too. You understand what I'm saying, family? We are vulnerable too, you know, and we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is the mindset that we must have for each other, and it must stand out. So when the nations look at us and say, man, that is a peculiar people, because the way that they moving and doing, man, that's something strange, man. But it's peculiar to the point where it's intriguing. We want to support that because we need that in our nation. We need that in our organization. We need that in this area. We need that in that area. Are they clamoring and chomping at the bit to pull us in because we are the reflection of Yah unto this dark world? Is that what's going on right now, family? Facts. Facts. You feel what I'm saying? So, again, what's at stake, family? What's at stake? That's one of the most important things we got to ask. You know, the integrity of our nation, if that's what we call in a nation, the integrity of our community, the integrity of it is at stake. Right now, they are branding a lot of Israelite groups as hate groups, as terrorist groups, because of some of the things that they say. And y'all know I don't condone a lot of things that some of our other brothers and sisters in our community speak on or teach on. I don't condone a lot of things that they say, but I do respect them for acknowledging the identity and making and showing forth an effort. I believe that sometimes when a person is extreme, it's a lot of times because they don't have anything in their life to balance them, right? So a lot of times they have to be made aware of other things that's on that spectrum that can help balance them out. You feel what I'm saying? And I realized that, you know, we need a lot of healing, but we don't have the resources to commence that healing. And what I'm saying is, when we become more autonomous and we become more of an entangled, integrate community, then we can start to create institutions to heal ourselves, family, to heal ourselves. We are damaged people. You understand? A damaged people, you know, and we've become so staunch and so strict and so, you know, at times extremely legalistic that there's no room for y'all to work and operate. And brothers and sisters are only projecting instead of expressing or reflecting. A lot of times we see the wrong things as being weakness, and it's not weakness. I should be able to be vulnerable around my brothers and sisters and family and loved ones. I should be able to do that and trust that they're going to cover and protect me. But if I don't even have that support from my community, when people say, oh, you know what, we shouldn't have no foreign king over us. And I'm saying, but then what are you doing about it? You don't want to, if I was to run for city council, which I may in a couple of years, how many of y'all going to vote for me? How many of y'all will be willing to raise funds for my campaign so I ain't got to go outside of our community and be compromised? How many of y'all will actually register to vote to make sure that I get into a position of power that I can infuse the policy to benefit our community? When I was looking in the chat, some people was, oh, we don't need to vote. And we don't need to vote. You don't need to vote, but you're putting your children in public schools. And the reason why those public schools are not giving your child a great education is because we don't have the people in power to represent our interests and our needs. Every other ethnic group lobbies and does this but us. But we say we a nation. All right. I'm just saying, family. I'm just saying. That's what's up, Derek Quay. Keep it up. All right. Thank you, Sister Vanessa. Shout out to the branch in the building. Bakar, Yahuda in the building. Spiritual Israel in the building. I think I got everybody. Mr. Tuarian in the building. All right. My brother Raphael Hakeem Bey. More in the building. Come on, family. So, you know, ultimately what I'm saying is we pride ourselves as being kings and queens of the Most High, but we don't have no kingdom to show for it. When the Most High claimed Israel, he had an earthly kingdom that reflected him in the heavenly realm. We don't have that now, but we want to take on titles, and we're not doing anything to exemplify it in real life, to materialize it. How does that work? How does that work? We have homeschooling programs for our children and resources out there to homeschool. Matter of fact, policy for homeschooling, districts, who runs the curriculum for the school district you send your child to? What if you want to allow Torah studies to be an elective or a minor in K-12? Y'all don't have nobody in power to create policies on that school district in order to commence that. But you complain about the quality of schooling that they get. A lot of us can't even get our credit right so we can get a house or we can get a car, right? We go outside the community to get these things. And I'm saying I'm using the RBG element in order to siphon resources so that way we can come to ourselves to get what we need. It has nothing to do with theology, quote unquote. It has nothing to do with that. You understand what I'm saying, family? So shout out to Chiquita Samuel in the building. So what I'm saying, and my brother Yosef, I think I gave you a shout out as well. So ultimately what I'm saying, family, is we know that knowing the statute, laws, and commandments is essential to our walk. And I don't think anybody here who claims to be an Israelite disagrees with that. But once we are so heavily fortified with the statute, laws, and commandments, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? Oh, these statute, laws, and commandments are going to get us out. It is. It is. The statute, laws, and commandments are solely by itself going to get us out. And there's nothing else that we have to do. If that's the case, then the ones who are keeping it, how come your situation is not changing? Huh? Why are you still living in the same community? Why are you still getting the same income? Why are you still suffering from the same bodily ills? Just keeping the statute, laws, commandments is not a pill that you swallow and then you wake up and everything goes away. You have to learn how to practically apply that to yield results. I tell people all the time that they ask me. Some people say, man, you know, I'm doing my best to learn these statutes, laws, and commandments, but it's very difficult to practically apply it in nowadays, in contemporary times. I say, you know what? I want you to read Mishle, or the Mishlein, the Proverbs. The book of Proverbs shows you how to practically apply Torah, no matter what era you're in. Did y'all know that? A lot of the core elements of Torah is practically laid out in Proverbs. I'm just saying. Exactly. I feel you, spiritual Israel, no doubt. and Mercury Elohim, that's the goal. That's definitely. Shout out to Aisha Fraser in the building. That's definitely the goal. And that's why those of you that follow this channel, y'all know the work that I'm attempting to put in on behalf of the community. And not at one time did I ever come to y'all and say, I'm not an Israelite no more. No, that's not what it's about. You feel what I'm saying? But like I said, you know, there's some people that say, man, you don't even need to do the RBG thing. And I'm saying, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm not telling people to do it. It's not for everybody. Keep doing your thing. If you're saying we don't need it, then you find other means to get the same resources for our community, and I'll use my means to do it. And then we'll come to the table together and say, look, I use this to get that. What you got? Oh, yeah, I use this to get that. All right, let's pull it together and see what we need from each other. Problem solved. We don't have to be divisive over it. You understand what I'm saying? Well, yes, to Bernie, but also there's benefits for keeping Torah. Let me ask you a question. This is for Bernie Sat, right? Shout out to Bernie Sat in the building. Bernie Sat, what is the benefit to keeping the statute, laws, and commandments while we are here, while we are alive, while we are in captivity? What's the benefit? What's the benefit? Oh, wait, let me know. That's absolutely correct, the Black Av one. I agree. Yosef, exactly. Yosef was also blessed in Mizraim. You know what I'm saying? He also became a representative for Israel and saved his community. He saved his community. And he was given a position as a vizier. That is a almost second in command administrative position to the Nasut BT of Kemet. You feel what I'm saying? So Bernie Sat. So you're saying that the only benefit we have for keeping Torah now is obedience, and that's it? So there's nothing else that we can find in the scriptures that showcase that there's other. Shout out to my brother D-Red in the building, who was also on the panel. So you're saying there's no other benefits for keeping the statute, laws, and commandments. So when I go and I look at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 to 14, you're telling me that none of that applies to me right now for keeping Torah? That's what you're saying? If that's what you're saying, let me know. That's what you're saying, let me know. Let me know. Glory be to the Most High. The link is in the chat. The admins posted the link in the chat. And again, family, as y'all can see on this platform, you know, we keep it respectful. We keep the language non-explicit because we want it to be enjoyable for, you know, anybody that's coming, you know, to watch this, families, children. You know, I know a lot of y'all want me to turn up and go crazy. A few of y'all want me to do that, but I'm not going to do that simply because I don't have to resort to that in order to get my message out. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have to resort to that in order to bring in, you know, viewers by the droves. That's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it for real revolution by means of the assignment that Yah has given me for his people, and to inspire those same people to go and do the same thing in their respective areas in life. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, my bad, fam. I'm trying to keep up with y'all comments while I'm talking. There's a good amount of y'all in here too. This is really interesting on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I don't know what y'all still doing up, but I mean, it is what it is. So anyway, shout out to Love Yas Coils in the building. So ultimately, forgot what I was just saying, but ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, I would say you will know a tree by its fruit. You understand what I'm saying? How do I know that, you know, this RBG niche, RBG Hebrew niche is beneficial to our community? You got to see what it's producing. You know, what kind of character is it producing? What kind of resources is it producing? What's tangible that it's producing for us? Love y'all coils. Friday is still popping. It's still popping on Friday. The only reason why I'm doing this is because this is a debriefing after the discussion that we just had earlier. Yuda Israel, you're saying, where is the church in Atlanta? I don't know what you mean by where's the church in Atlanta. What do you mean when you say where's the church in Atlanta? You know what I'm saying? Can you give me more details on what you're asking for there? Kiefer, you probably on the West Coast, but that's probably why you good. You feel me? Shout out to Nehemiah Israel in the building. So what I'm saying is, thank you for that, spiritual Israel. Thank you for that. So what I'm saying is, there's no need for us to be explicit to get our point across. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've learned that you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar, right? And that's still applicable. And you know, given society's perspective of us, you know, some of us have to create balance in the community. You know, you have extremists, you know, or conservatives in every community, organization, whatever. And then you have liberals and you have those that are moderate, etc. But the most important thing is you know, a homeostasis must be established. A balance must be established. I have a role and I do what I do. I don't try to be like nobody else. I don't try to appease to somebody's lower emotions simply because they want to see something. I've been called to do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 5, 7 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm a different person. When people see me now, they realize like, man, they realize that I'm a different person. You feel what I'm saying? And that's because the Most High has to work in you. I mean, there has to be something that people see when you're keeping the statute, laws, commandments. If you're still cursing people out, if you still have a grudge with people, if you're still bitter, if you're still angry, then what is the statute, laws, commandments doing for you? What is it doing? Moshe told us that we have to circumcise the foreskin of our heart. We have to show love to our brothers and sisters. This stuff is extremely important. This is when we start to miss the essence of the statute, laws, and commandments. We miss it. And we don't have that relationship with Yah like he wants us to have. We have a relationship with Torah, but we don't have a relationship with Yah. See, some of us are so entrenched in the legal aspect, our relationship is more so with Torah than it is with Yah. That's for somebody. Somebody get that. Somebody get that. Oh, if that's what he's talking about, Ranisha, I'll put it in the chat. There it is. It's right there in the chat. All right. So shout out to Demel Walker in the building. That's the address right there in the chat for you, Yuda. I hope you're not making me post it and you're not going to show up. So we're going to look forward to seeing you there. All right. So please don't disappoint us. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, family, you know, transformation is something that's very important, family. Transformation. If people was to see us now who knew us back then, are they seeing something different? Are they seeing something different? You know, or are they seeing the same thing, just, you know, sprayed with perfume, but it's the same stench, but we just trying to cover it with perfume instead of being washed and cleansed. You feel what I'm saying? So again, you know, like I said, for some people, you know, this may not be their cup of tea. You know, they want the vengeance and they want the yelling and cursing and screaming and acting crazy. If that's for you, this channel is not for you. That's not what I'm here to do. That's not what KHM supports. That's not what we're about. You know what I'm saying? We can have a heated discussion and still maintain our discipline. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I want to promote. If you see this chat, the people who are regulars in this chat, look how they conduct themselves. Look how they conduct themselves. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to King Anubis in the building. What kind of Hebrew are you and what's the difference, brother? King Anubis, I'm assuming that you're brand new to this channel. All right. If you're brand new to this channel, I think that's probably why you're asking that. You feel what I'm saying? But as far as me being a Hebrew Israelite, the difference between me, you're saying, and other Hebrew Israelites, it depends on what other Hebrew Israelite person or group you're referring to. And I can be more specific. Okay. What I will say is one of the differentiating factors is the threefold tenets of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, which is restoring culture, establishing communities, and implementing autonomy. And the restoring culture part has to do with reconstructing the pre-exilic Israelite culture, right? And that's something that's unique in the Hebrew Israelite community that I barely see anybody really doing in this community. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a different take, a different angle in regards to how things are approached with the community. Shout out to Augustus Kane in the building. So that kind of is what makes KHM and me a bit different than a lot of other groups out there. And another thing would have to be community work. You know what I'm saying? Community building. And, you know, people do food drives and people do clothing drives. People do prison ministries and stuff like that. I have no qualms against that because we need that. But what I'm attempting to do is work inductively from the ground up and put measures in place so we don't have that influx of people being homeless and people being hungry and people not having any clothes or resources. So I'm involved, again, in a committee that is attempting to create the biggest city in the entire state of Georgia and have our people running the show that live in that community. You understand what I'm saying? In some cases, that's true, my brother, the Great Awakening. In some cases, that's true. Shout out to Anna Israel in the building. You know what I'm saying? Katria Ben Yisrael, Shalom. Mac Nas, Shalom. All right. Thank you for watching. More of y'all jumping in here. This is interesting. All right. So let's keep going. I'm going to keep going. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the panel for a quick, maybe another 15 minutes. If anybody wants to join in, jump in the panel, have a discussion, let me make the rest of this time well worth it for y'all. All right. So I'm going to open up this channel for y'all. Give me a second. Let me open up the channel. And if y'all want to jump in the chat, but I'm going to give you some instructions before I share this link. Number one, please refrain from cursing. Okay. Number two, please wait your turn to speak. And number three, please have the heart to want to build. All right. And when I say build, I'm talking about selflessly. Be an active listener, right? And also be willing to contribute to the greater whole of the discussion. We don't need nobody arguing, nobody fighting, nobody trying to prove themselves, or whatever the case may be. That's not what this platform is for. All right. So anybody that wants to jump in and either speak about the discussion that was on Maccabees TV earlier, or there's something else that you want to discuss as it pertains to something that I've said thus far, I'm gonna open up the panel for y'all to come in the last 15 minutes. We could just talk and we could build, and we out 15-20 minutes. All right. So let me go ahead and give y'all the link real quick. So I'm gonna open up for anybody. Anybody can in the chat can jump in. All right. Shout out to Yahushua Shamar in the building. Now, Kiefer, I don't think he's in the chat. I don't think he's in. If he is, let me know. I don't think he's in the chat though. All right, that's the link right there. If anybody wants to jump on the panel, we got 15, no more than 20 minutes to chat for a little bit. I'm doing this because there's a lot of people watching now. And I want to make sure that if you want to jump on and say something, then you have an opportunity to do so. All right. But like I said, y'all know we family in here. Y'all go and look at this channel, man. This type of energy that we promote. This is what needs to be in Israel everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I have so many people that watch this channel who are not part of our community, you know, and their thing is like, man, I like how you conduct this channel. I said, it's not me. You know, it's the people that gravitate towards the material, towards the information. It's the Ruach that's leading them. It's not me. You know, I'm not taking no credit for that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody here is an adult. Y'all know how to conduct yourselves. Sometimes y'all be building with each other more than I be building with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I am. I'm just a spark for your candle. You know what I'm saying? You got to carry the flame after I spark it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. So the link is there. If y'all want to, if somebody wants to jump in and have a chat, the link is there. Like I said, we got another 15 minutes or so. Let me know if y'all want to chat. You can jump on a panel. We can chat real quick. All right. All right. Peace and shalom. I see Nehemiah Israel's in the building. Nehemiah Israel, introduce yourself real quick.
Grace and peace, Nehemiah Israel of Chicago. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Elder. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of chimed in on the Maccabees show kind of late. You know, I think I got in when it seemed that they were trying to squash a beef or a interaction with two of the panels. And I did catch the part where you were talking about building your city and about how you felt about. I didn't catch the part about the RBG. You know, if it was resolved or what was your stance on it. But aren't you an RBG? You're an RBG, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I identify with the RBG concept.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, I didn't have much to say. I just wanted to pop in and say that I agree with, you know, well, at least let me say that I appreciate your work that you do from what I've seen regarding, you know, I think I've seen you build with Nazi down there in Atlanta and having the retreats where you guys get together and do a few things. So those are some great things that I appreciate about, you know, what I've seen, and you're still going at it, you know, and it's probably been about 4 or 5 years that I've, you know, seen you and the lights, you know. So yeah, to witness the, as they say, the tensions in building, you know, with the brothers, the panelists, you know, that that's probably the hardest thing for me is to witness it, but I understand how hard it is all together trying to deal with, as we all know, this captivity, and that's something that I applaud is your understanding of it and the way you go about it scholarly, you know, identifying, you know, the challenges, you know, trying to have some kind of cohesion, you know, to, like you say, to usher in the kingdom, if you will. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it, man. The thing that, you know, like I said, I think it was good. I was just getting ready to listen to the beginning of the show, and I don't know if it loaded or not. And I was getting ready to call in the evening, and I see that you popped up, and I said, well, look, let me get over there and see what Brother Ron Divine is speaking on. And so with that, I'm gonna just go ahead and you know, say peace out, okay?
All right. Thank you so much, Elder. I greatly appreciate you taking your time out on a Thursday morning at 1:53 a.m. to jump over on this live stream and definitely give your feedback. You know, I appreciate it. I want to make sure you have the opportunity to speak and for the audience to hear you. Thank you so much for patronizing this channel, and I look forward to building with you again, Elder. So I got another brother that's in the building, Yuda. I think it's Yuda Israel. You can introduce yourself and say your quick piece, Bob, my brother.
Shalom to the family. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
What's up? What's up? Peace. I've been following you for a while, you know, digging the spirit. I gravitated towards the spirit, like you were saying. I originally I just wanted to say real quick, and you gave me confirmation if you know it or not, the other night. But I originally got into all this, knowing who we are. Specifically, it was crazy. And it's another time I'm telling my story, not to go on too long, but it's very special because you remember the scripture, I believe is Acts 2, 18 through 22, or something like that. And it said that during the blood moon, something would happen. Something very specific would happen. And it happened specifically to me, but not just anything. He made it real for me. And what that means is, I can't say too much, but I was in the military, and it's it was a lot of things that I was doing that I thought was okay, until it was like one day he like revealed, like he took the opened my eyes, and I seen like I was going the wrong way, or it was like a feeling of like everybody was looking forward and I was turning my head like I wasn't supposed to, you know. That was the feeling I got overall. And pretty much I had dreams, my brother had dreams which were totally different, separate from each other on the same night. And that morning we woke up, told each other about the dream. It was separate dreams, Divine. They were separate dreams. Like his dream was we helped somebody move, and it was random. It was a male, two females, and somebody else, and me and him. I was like, oh, that's random. I had a dream. We got into my car, and we never got out my car. We never got out, and that was just random. So I told him that. He told me that. 5 seconds later, we left out the house and lived it. We lived what we just spoke about. And that, you know what I'm saying, that never happened to me. And specifically, I was in the military. So that meant a little more to me. Like, wait, well, I never heard that, you know, what I didn't know what that meant. So anyway, we felt that it was something to do with the blood moons, and it led us to the Bible. It led us to another lady named Anita Fuentes, and that's the first lady I heard say his name, say Yahushua's real name. I've never heard nobody say Jesus' real name or suppose it. So anyway, that led me on this crazy path to seeing who we are with the Hebrews and everything, and leading me to being in New York, and the military saying, well, we believe you, but you're not supposed to be saying this. So, you know, I could speak to you offline, or maybe when I come in and see you, I could tell you more. And it was just crazy that I didn't know, and they really don't know how real it is. Like he's really coming back, and it's really happening. And around the blood moon time specifically, I want to say this to y'all that's out there that happened on the blood moon. I woke up when y'all did. Y'all not alone. It happened. I felt like all of us. I felt like more than one person. Something happened to them that night specifically. I want to let y'all know that it wasn't y'all alone. It happened to me too, and it's crazy. I know it's crazy y'all hearing it, but it's real, and I want to thank Divine for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And the scriptures say specifically that the luminaries, right, that's in the heavenly realm are there for an oath. An oath is a sign, right? So anytime you see an eclipse, anytime you see a blood moon, it is a sign for something. And it may not be a sign always to the collective group of Israel, but to individuals as well. So, I mean, I applaud you for giving that testimony, and I applaud you for being brave enough to embrace the Most High giving you an epiphany to wake you up in this last day and age, you know what I'm saying? And to really, put your walk on the front line, because it's really not, an easy thing. It's manageable, right? And we can get through it, and there's benefits, but it's not an easy thing, because you may lose a lot in the process when you try to gain the Most High. You know what I mean, family? So, I appreciate you giving us that feedback. And like I said, like you said, we can build offline if you want, and you can share more of that information with me, and we can talk, we can build, and so forth. I just thank you for being on the panel, for giving your 2 cents to the family so they can see what you're about. And I'm sure somebody was encouraged by that. And that's always what I like to push its edification in our community. So thank you for that, my brother. I'll give you another chance if you want to give another few minutes towards the end. But does anybody else want to jump on the link real quick and give a few words before we close out in a bit? I want to say shalom to Raymond Tate in the building. Yawanathan also, shout out to Yawanathan also in the building as well. I think I got everybody. But let me put the link back out one more time in case y'all want to jump in real quick. Like I said, y'all can chime in regards to the discussion, or if you want to give some feedback or 2 cents on something briefly, you have the opportunity to do so. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Elder Nehemiah Israel. Thank you for the donation. I truly appreciate that, Elder. Please stay in touch with me. One of my admins, if you can put my email address in the chat for the Elder to reach out to me. I want to make sure I stay in touch with him as well, because I have a lot of Israelite associates in Chicago, and we may know. I'm pretty sure we may know a lot of the same people, especially since the Elder was saying some things that I know he's been around for a while and he knows some people in the community. So I like to build with my brothers and sisters, my peers, and more especially and particularly with the elders in our community. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Azaziah Ban Yahawada. So family, the link is right there in the chat if y'all want to jump in real quick. If not, then I'll just build with my brother Yuda that's here for a few more minutes before we close out. But I mean, if somebody else wants to jump in, you got the link right there. All right. Yuda, since it's just me and you, is anything real quick you wanna chime in on? You want to chat about real quick, something that you feel comfortable with discussing, asking, giving feedback, input on, or just even sharing anything? Just let me know. The floor is yours. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
Oh, okay, there we go.
All right, go ahead. You good?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the linking or the pairing or the collaboration you're trying to get us to agree and accept, being that we're from the African continent. We understand, and they did such a good job of implementing the fact that we weren't Africans, that was needed. I don't think you could disagree. That was needed for us to understand that even though we brown, we aren't actually Africans. Because I've always knew my homeboy Ndufu, he was African. He wasn't Trayvon. I've always seen that difference. We've always been different. You know what I'm saying? But I've never, until ISUPK, until everybody would start saying it and saying, okay, yeah, we are different. In actuality, they did sell us. So how should we feel about those ties and being, because if we do, I agree. People that call themselves African, they still might be Hebrew. 1, 2, we might have Africans that do have resources. I'm worried about the Africans that do have the resources that we need, but the Most High might not bless us with those resources because they coming from a God or a people that he don't really mess with. So I want to get your feedback on that.
All right, that's an excellent question. I'm gonna mute you real quick. All right, so the question you asked me is as far as the perspective dealing with those who are African, and why should we work or accept resources from Africans that had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade, right? It's interesting because if we look at if for people who believe in a doctrine that the northern tribes came over here to the Americas, they did not suffer at the hands of the slave coast of Africa, right? They migrated over here in ships and made their way to the Americas, and they settled here for people who subscribe to that doctrine. So those individuals don't really have an issue when it comes to what some people will call Hamites, right? Or people who are African. A majority of the slaves that was taken off the western shores of Africa, it is on the Senegambia area, and so Ghana area, Benin area to Nigeria, and then finally made its way to the Congo. A nation such as Ghana. Ghana is a very peculiar nation because Ghana is one of the first, and in some aspects, the only nation to actually come out and publicly apologize for what they did in their hand in regards to the transatlantic slave trade. Number two, they have a program called Panelist that they give almost every other year. And Panelist is a way for us to go to the country and learn about the culture, learn about the politics, learn about the environment, the resources, etc. And the second program, man, it just escaped my mind. Hold on, let me get it real quick. I did a whole lecture on this. Yeah, some of my lecture that I have on here, I probably posted in there. Yeah, I forgot the other one. But it's suffice to say, there's two events that they have there. The other one, which is not coming to me, is the one where they formally apologize when you do go over there. They show you, they give you a tour of the slave ports, and tell you the history of that region where slaves were deported or shipped off the coast. Also, they have resources that is assigned for us. Accra and Greater Accra is one of the cities in West Africa that has the greatest concentration of so-called African Americans there that are yielding extreme benefits from living off of that land, having the skill sets that they learn here in America and bringing it over there to Africa. Also, they have land that's allotted for us, as well as dual citizenship options that they give to us as well. So there's a lot of things that Ghana has, and not even that. Ghana is very strong in pushing what's called the International Decade for People of African Descent. And if you follow this channel, I've spoken on it several times, I've lectured on it, but you can also just look it up yourself. And you can see how much Ghana has gone out their way to support our plight here in America. So much so that Kwame Nkrumah, who is very vital to the liberation of Ghana from imperialism, he learned a lot of his techniques from the Black national movements here in America. And he used those techniques in order to liberate his community. And in return, he set up policies that still stay with us today to ensure that there's some kind of open door element in regards to welcoming and supporting the endeavors of us here in America. I have a lecture called Globalizing Black Power that you can go back and check out on my YouTube channel, that you can see where I actually share some of the stuff that Ghana is involved with when it comes to helping assisting us. I also have a lecture called Economic Subversion to Autonomous Conversion. And at the end of it, I also speak about the land and dual citizenship options that Ghana has afforded us. So these are all resources that we can use to bring back to our community and build our community. So when it comes to slaves being sold, there's a lot of paperwork that was involved. And when you do the research, like I've done in one of my a video where I had a debate on my channel in regards to, should we blame spiritual wickedness in high places for slavery, for, you know, institutionalized slavery here in America? In that, I actually gave the website and was reading off the names of the families that benefited from the slave trade. There's also accounts and records from families and tribes as well in the west coast of Africa who was responsible for selling off the lower echelons of their own society and POWs and other immigrants in their communities and selling them off into slavery. We have some recordation to know who exactly was involved. And when you look at this paper trail, then you can actually make a great case and distinction to know who had their hand involved in the situation and who was not involved in our situation. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters who identify as being Israel that live in the country of Ghana. You understand what I'm saying? So we also have to have solidarity and unity with them as well in that region. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I understand the plight that we're in regards to us feeling a means of projected condemnation towards these people for selling us into slavery, or being involved in somehow in the manipulation of the trade in order for them to gain by giving us up, whether or not they knew the type of environment that we would be brought in and the atrocities that we would be subjected to. But ultimately, being that Ghana is on the forefront of opening their door, providing resources, apologizing, do so many things, go out their way in order to connect with us, right? So that way, again, that essence that I was saying as far as RBG, because Kwame Nkrumah was a staunch RBG representative for his nation. You understand what I'm saying? It has opened the doors for us to use a lot of those resources that are available to build Israel. You know, and that's what a lot of us are doing in the community as well, leveraging. Matter of fact, I have brothers and sisters that are Israelites that I've met personally, several of them, that now live in Ghana, the country of Ghana, that is now making headway in Ghana, that is now making opportunities to open up for our community if we want to go to and live in Ghana. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, we say that about dealing with, you know, African countries that may or may not have had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade, but yet we still live here in America. And the oppressors that run this country, the elitists, they were the biggest benefiters or benefactors of the slave trade. But we're crying foul, but what are we doing about it? Nothing. We're still living here. We're still doing business with them. We're still going to their schools. We're still using their products. We're still becoming consumers of things that they putting out there to destroy and to kill us. So no matter where we're at on this planet, we still have to have the same protocol as find a way to get the necessary resources to preserve our heritage, to provide a inheritance for our children's children, and to ensure that we have enough breathing room by means of autonomy, so that way when Yah comes back and rains his judgments, it will not afflict us, because we'll be so concentrated on patronizing one another and our own autonomous communities that we'll say to the Most High, do what you will to this Babylon that needs to be destroyed. But look at what we're doing in the interim. Preserve us and preserve what it is that we're doing. So that way, when you come back and you do redeem us, the remnant will stand out from everywhere else and everyone else, no matter where we're at on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take in regards to dealing with West African nations. Even though every continent and every tribe in Africa was not responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. There's several tribes that I can mention to you, like the Khoisan tribe, had nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade. You understand what I'm saying? They had nothing to do with that. And there's several other tribes that I could bring up and mention as well that had nothing to do with it. So if we are upset with them, Hamites in general, because of the transatlantic slave trade, when all of them was not involved or had a hand in it, and we're turning our backs on the ones who were involved but have apologized and have even given reparations for their hand being involved in the slave trade, for us to turn our back and say, no, we don't want to deal with you. We are only limiting the resources that we can get from them to help our community. And I've done videos and lectures where I share the immense amount of resources and opportunities that they have available if we want to take advantage of it right now. Like I said, I have brothers and sisters that's already over there in Ghana who are Israelites that were from here in America that are benefiting because of this open door policy that Ghana has there for our people today. Now, other nations, hey, they may not have that open door policy to us, and they may not even care. But at least we know that Ghana does, and they have done things and taken steps in the right direction in regards to reconciliation for what they did to us. So that's my take on that. That's my 2 cents. So if you want to give your final words on that, or answer a question.
I was just going to say, didn't it say that everybody was against us at a certain time that made a tumult against us?
Everybody was not against us, because we've always had allies, even in the most unexpected places. So if I'm thinking, are you referring to Psalm 83?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if you're referring to Psalm 83, there's specific nations that came together that wanted to see Israel snuffed out. Specific nations. If you look on those list of nations, are any of those nations that are in the continent of Africa?
No.
Take a look at it. You can go back and check it out.
So if it isn't, that tumult that they made, that's the one that trickled down to have us in this position now, correct?
During that time when that was written. So when we go back to Psalm 83, and this was written by Asaph, and Asaph was one of the choir directors, you know, in regards to writing a lot of the Tehillim or the Psalms. When you go and you read Psalms 83 and you go to verse 4, it says, "Come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation, so Israel's name is remembered no more. With one mind they plot together, they form an alliance against you, the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagrites, Byblos, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, and the people of Tyre. Even Assyria has joined them to reinforce Lot's descendants. Do to them as you did to Midian, as you did to Sisera and Jabin at the river Kishon, who perished at Endor and became like dung on the ground." Then it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. In the context, historical context in which this was written, all of those nations were coming together and conspiring to destroy Israel. But via the Most High's divine intervention, he has preserved us in the midst of their conspiracies. Henceforth, any nation today that might be conspiring against us, we know that the Most High will extend himself to preserve the righteous remnant amongst whatever nation is trying to oppress us. But if we're going to look at the historical context of this particular psalm, which is not saying that it is a prophecy per se, right? It is just something that is being written as a form of meditation, murmuring, meditating over the murmurs, written to melodies, and that we see here in the Psalms, because this is what Asaph was witnessing during his time being alive. He saw these specific nations. Now, mind you, we go to Genesis chapter 10, and he has knowledge of a whole bunch of other nations. He could have mentioned Cush. He could have mentioned Mizraim. He could have mentioned Libya. He could have mentioned any other group of people, but he singled these individuals out. And if you look historically what was going on in Asaph's time, you know specifically why they wanted to snuff out Israel, but the Most High has redeemed Israel from their clutches, which means that as long as we're the righteous remnant that's keeping his Torah and becoming a beacon of light to the nations, he will always preserve his remnant no matter who's conspiring against them. But according to that list, none of those nations are on the continent of Africa.
So is the grandson of Ham living out his punishment now? That's what we see. 12 cents a day, the kids in Africa, are we seeing them live out theirs?
So when you say the grandson of Ham, which grandson of Ham you talking about?
Well, it said curse be Canaan.
Canaan. So when we identify Canaan as a people group, where was Canaan located?
I believe Canaan was located in the land that we call Africa.
Where in Africa?
Specifically, I couldn't tell you.
So Canaan, or the descendants of Canaan, they were in the region of what we will call Palestine or Israel today. That's where they settled at. Initially, according to, and I've done a video on this where I speak about the so-called curse of Ham, because it's not really a curse on Ham, because the Most High blessed Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So Noah did not have any authority to curse Ham for what he did. But his firstborn, Canaan, was the one that received the curse because of his father's iniquity, right? So the father's iniquity was visited on Canaan, and how it carried out was that Canaan was assigned or apportioned out a particular place to settle in, and he chose that he wanted to settle in the region that was given to Shem and Shem's descendants, and that is the land of Palestine. And because of such, he was warned not to settle and take that land, and he refused and did it anyway. And because of such, that so-called curse that was upon him from his grandfather Noah fell upon him and fell upon his descendants. And again, they were contained to that region that we know today as Palestine, right? Now, when we look at Mizraim, Egypt, when we look at Cush, we look at Libya, these are other nations that more than likely populated the continent of Africa, what we will call Hamites today. The Canaanites were peoples that was in the region that's so-called the Middle East today. So if a curse is being carried out because of the descent of those individuals, the scriptures is very particular on what that curse is. When you go back and you read Genesis chapter 9, it gives you details on what that curse is. That will befall upon those people of Canaan, but those people of Canaan are the ones that's isolated in that region of Palestine and even what we would call the Middle East. Now, could some descendants of Canaan be on the continent of Africa? More than likely, that's possible, but they don't represent the majority of Hamites that we see on the continent of Africa. So it would be unfair for us to say that the entire continent of Africa is under the curse of Canaan, when Canaan was a small remnant and the Cushites and Mizraim and Egyptians outnumbered the individuals that was living there in the land of Canaan. And during various military excursions by the Israelites and other nations fighting over that land, they killed off a lot of the Canaanites. And this has been seen historically. When we get to the Greco-Roman period, who are more astute in administrative tasks such as documenting history, you have people that took time out, like Tacitus and others that took time out to record the history of the peoples in that region. And you'll see through a lot of these Greco-Roman historians that those so-called classical Canaanites were no longer there in that land, that a lot of them was destroyed, you know what I'm saying, or moved out and migrated out. So it's okay.
So the one last thing I would probably wanted to say is,
sure,
like, as far as because the main thing is probably with ISUBK is, okay, they didn't got our minds off to thinking and to knowing we're different people. Okay, that's what we needed. And that's what the Most High wanted. And you want us to be autonomous. And I agree with that. And you want us to, but if we go, the main thing we want as a people, and I feel it as all of us, we need our own land, our own space, even if it's in a place like you said, Ghana. Okay, we go to Ghana. What's the extent that we work with them as far as resources, and how much do we work with them? Because if I'm around somebody as pretty as Moses' wife was, and she's an African, and I'm dealing with them like you want me to, and I'm following your lead, Divine, but this fine African is around me all the time, and she kind of look like Eve, but she ain't Eve, but at the same time, she fine. And you're going to cause me to sin if I go too far into that. So what's the extent of working with them Africans and getting our own land?
Well, I mean, in regards to what you want to do with an African Eve, that has nothing to do with DivineProspect.
No. What I'm saying is,
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, you're working with them. Okay, what's the extent?
Yeah, so the extent, again, I'll summarize it. Like I said, I have a couple of videos where I speak on it. The extent is, like you said, they have allotted and apportioned land for us here. You know what I'm saying? For us over there. So if we go and we purchase that land and we have an allodial title over that piece of property, if we're given that, or in a fee simple title, I don't know the specifics of it, but I can consult with my brothers that's over there in Ghana to give me more details. In an organization that I called about 2 years ago in discussing this. When we go over there to take that land and we take over that land and we set up our own community, then we will govern it as we see fit. As long as that we don't become a threat to that government. It'd be the same thing here. If we set up a community here, nobody will care unless we talking about, yeah, we're going to take up arms. We're going to go and topple over the government. I mean, I don't teach that. We don't teach that. So if we have been given land and it's our objective to cultivate that land, to create a community on that land, and not only become beneficial to the inhabitants that move there and that's living on that piece of land, but also to continue to work with the outside nation to ensure that we have a steady supply of resources to continue to ensure that that land is established the way it needs to be. Now, in that community, ideally will just be our people. But if we decide that we want to open it up and allow other strangers, Gur to come in, or Ben Nakar to come in, or whatever the case may be, if that is our prerogative, then that will be up to that community to decide whether or not that's beneficial or not. You know what I'm saying? All I'm doing is I'm giving the tools, the resources, the information for you to go and establish that, and how you run it, you will see fit. Now, as far as KHM, that's a separate thing altogether. But all I'm doing is I'm explaining to you, sharing information, letting you know what's available, what can be done. If a person chooses like, man, look, that's not good enough for me because there might be temptation there, or I don't trust them or whatever, no problem. It's not for them. But for people who have enough discipline and say, you know what, yeah, let's go over here. Here's a game plan, a blueprint that we can go and lay out and set this thing up. So that way, once we establish a community, we also know how to have diplomatic ties to that nation that we're living in, and at the same time maintain the integrity of ourselves as a people. When we look at Jeremiah chapter 29, where we're telling the Israelites what to do when they was in captivity. Matter of fact, I'll bring it up real quick. So that way we have a point of reference here. And I always bring up this scripture. It's one of my favorite scriptures in the entire text, because it talks about autonomy. When you go and you read chapter 29, verse 3, it says, he entrusted the letter to Elasa, son of Shaphan, and to Gamaliel, son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. It said, this is what Yah Almighty, the Elohim of Israel, says to all those I carried away into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon: build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat of the vineyard. Okay, that all right, I got it. It just disappeared for a second. And eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there, do not decrease. So that element there where it says marry and have sons and daughters, find wives for your sons, give your daughters in marriage, so that they too may have sons and daughters. This is pertaining to that community of Israelites. The Most High, in this instance, being in Babylon, is not saying, well, open the door and just bring everybody in and just marry everybody. That's not what he's saying, right? So if a person wants to take that model and apply that on that piece of land that they've paid for or that they've been given, and they're doing something in exchange for the land, and they want to build a Torah-centered community on that land, because you have House of Israel there. House of Israel is a small community of Ghanaians who identify as being Israel. You know what I'm saying? And they work together, they patronize together, they worship together, etc. You know what I'm saying? Now, those individuals identify as Israel, and looking at their migration patterns, looking at their cultural traits and everything, to me, they're Israel. If those individuals came in there, they can very well live amongst us, and not only live amongst us, they can also procreate with us, because they're Israelites. So again, the model in which a person established, all I'm doing is saying, look, here's the information, right? And with this information, with this advice, with these suggestions, now you become your own boss on what you do with it. Now you have a personal walk that you have with Yah. I'm just here in an advisory capacity, but once I give you the advice, I say, look, doesn't matter what somebody gives you, it's what you choose to do with it that you will be responsible for. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that begins to answer your question.
It does, definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up. Like I said, the link is still there. There's 1 minute, 2 minutes before I wrap up. If somebody else want to jump on, ask a question or something like that, it's completely up to y'all. Like I said, you know, exactly, Raymond Tate, I agree with that. You know, and if you just heard what I said to the brother, I attested to that. You know what I mean? So, but needless to say, you know, as far as my particular disposition is one thing, and what I suggest is something else. You know what I'm saying? Because if I suggest something, I want it to be objective enough so that somebody is not carving out the same path that I carved out for myself, that they have the tools to carve out where the Ruach leads them. And that's the most important thing. You understand what I'm saying? So
I had a question too, about my dream. One last thing about that. In the scriptures, I know it said it was going to wake up the people that weren't his and the people that was his, and the same. How do you know if you need to go, like you need to go ahead and follow, or how do you know if you're a heathen and you really don't need to follow anyway?
was that a statement or a question?
Question.
Repeat the question again.
Because when in the scriptures that I found out that linked me to waking up, it says it's going to wake up heathens and it's going to wake up his children alike.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know where I fall? If I do need to go ahead and follow all these laws or not, and just keep telling people like I've been prognosticating like a mug. It's been coming out of me nonstop, but following is harder for me. So I don't know if I do need to just jump all the way in, or if I don't, if I'm a heathen anyway, it don't matter. I can just do whatever.
Well,
that's where all of us kind of lay also. If we don't know,
yeah, some people are not convicted enough to know either way, and that's honest. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that, because that's where they are at that point. I've done, at least in the capacity that I can, a substantial amount of research to validate the former of what you said. But if the latter is applicable, because I can never say I'm 1,000% sure. If the latter is applicable, the fact that I am striving to please the Most High under the auspices that I am Israel, that the Most High will honor that. And at the very least, if I am a goy or a Gentile, I will be serving in the kingdom. And I'd rather be on that side than be on the outside and suffer otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'd rather give it my best shot. And in the interim, while I'm keeping the statutes, laws, and commandments, to make a difference in my life and the lives of those around me, and to actually witness the Ruach intervening and giving me confirmation that I'm on the right path. And that could come by way of dreams, revelations, epiphanies, life circumstances, life events, etc. We just have to be aware. And what prayer does is that it provides the opportunity to become aware of the Most High's intervention so that we can act. Prayer is not designed for us to be complacent and wait for the Most High to do everything. Prayer is an appeal. So an opportunity is opened up for us to do something, whether that's repent, whether that's to take advantage of an opportunity, whether that's to get a resource, whether that's to reconcile with somebody, whatever the case may be. All prayer does is opens up the opportunity via timing and chance. And it is up to us to be aware of that opportunity and take advantage of it by moving and acting in alignment with that divine intervention. All right. So great questions, my brother. And again, I have no problem inviting you on at another time when we can build, or we could build off the air. You know what I'm saying? I have no qualms with that. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to mute you real quick as I close out. So family, I gave y'all an opportunity to jump in. There's only 2 brave souls that decided they want to do it, and it's all good. So ultimately, family, you know, I just want to let you know that I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all 70 plus of y'all joining in on tonight at 2:31 a.m. on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and partaking in this discussion. I appreciate y'all in the chat as well for your decorum, your discipline. Shout out to Series B for your decorum and discipline and communicating with each other, keeping things respectful, keeping the edification going. I mean, you know, I can't ask for, you know, a better quality of individuals to support KHM. You understand what I'm saying? And I would rather have the 70 of y'all in here with the character that you'll have than to have 1,000, 2,000 people in here looking for controversy or drama or something that does not pertain to nation building or Torah. You know what I'm saying? So I thank the Most High for y'all. That's why I shout y'all out all the time. Shout out to Dero Yahoo Ben Dora. Yes, we can build offline. Dero Yahoo, email me, or if you have Facebook, look me up at DivineProspect. Send me a message. If you're on Instagram, at Kingdom Moments. If you're on Twitter, look up DivineProspect. You can send me an inbox message on here on YouTube, or you can simply just email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com if you want to build or anything of that nature. All right. But what I will say is this, right? And this is a quick follow-up to what the brother said earlier. In regards to a person that's a Gentile, if they know for certain that they are a Gentile, there are certain mainline or baseline requirements that they have to meet. And then applying Torah, which would be beneficial, is actually what is called a free will offering. Okay. Because a free will offering is when you give more than what is required. Okay. That's what a free will offering is. If a Gentile keeps what's called the Noahide laws, the baseline universal laws that's infused in every civilization, every ethnic group, every community, just about, if they're able to maintain that in the middle of whatever wickedness is going on around them, the Most High will honor that. But if they come into contact with an Israelite and they decide, man, you know what? The Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is real, and I understand these prophecies, and I want to be a part of this thing, and they choose to follow Torah after that, if they want to live in a community amongst us, or they want to cleave unto us, them following Torah will be equally beneficial to them. But there are still certain stipulations in Torah that makes a distinction between native Israelites and those who are not Israelites. And the Torah is very explicit on that. It's not sugarcoated anything. So certain things will not apply. And one of those examples would be charging interest, you know, for a loan. I mean, you don't do that to a fellow Israelite, but you can definitely do it to a Gentile. You know, there's certain other stipulations that are similar to that. So they would come into it knowing that these certain things are there in place. And if they agree to it, the Most High will definitely honor that humility and that submission. So what I would say is that anybody who is convicted that they are Israel, you know, walk in that conviction. If you're unsure of whether you're Israel or not, you can still walk in that conviction and still reap the benefits of it. And at the very least, if you're not bloodline Israel and you happen to be a Gentile, then you will be serving on the righteous side of judgment as opposed to the adverse side of judgment. So it's definitely up to you, you know. And we've seen that the way the world is going right now, there's not a lot of time, and we know what to expect in the coming years to come. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to add that as well. And again, family, thank you for watching. I truly love and appreciate y'all for being here on this night. Shout out to my brother Yudah Israel, who decided to join in. My brother Nehemiah Israel, who decided to join in. I love and appreciate both those brothers. I thank them for giving their feedback, their input, and their questions. Thank all of y'all as well for watching the Maccabees TV. Should Israelites classify themselves as RBG discussion? Earlier, before I started this this live stream, I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. We're planning a lot more discussions. We'll be bringing diverse voices from amongst the community of Israel to get on panel discussions and hash things out as it pertains to our community and be able to exemplify unity after it's all said and done. And like I said, you know, a lot of those brothers and me, we're cool off the air, and we have a group that we build in every day. You know, we edify each other, we encourage each other, we support each other, and we bang on each other. You know what I'm saying? But we do it all in ahab. We do it all in love. And that's when you know that maturity has peaked when it comes to your walk, when you can maintain your discipline, your tact, and your respect of others amidst a difference, right? Those who seek division are the ones who have selfish gains for the agenda that they are trying to obtain. But those who seek selfless edification are the ones who are driven by purpose, because they realize at the end of the day, it's the Most High who's going to do the dividing, the sifting, and that's the Most High's job. Our job is to walk in the integrity of his name that he has surnamed us, and to keep the covenant in which he has given us. That is our obligation. Everything else is left to the Most High. All right. So with that, family, stay strong. You know, stay strong. We don't promote weakness on this channel. If I was a weak person, a lot of things y'all see me doing, I would not be doing. So we don't promote weakness, but this is a different side to strength. All right. Strength does not always have to be your bravissimo being put on display, you know, and you're trying to measure your ego with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That's not always a sure sign of strength. Sometimes that's a sign of weakness. Strength is, again, being able to maintain your discipline, and while maintaining your discipline, learning how to assert yourself responsibly so you can yield the appropriate results. When you get into a situation and you're able to get the results that you want without going to extreme measures to do so, that's when you know that you have a knack for attack and diplomacy, and that skill can definitely be used when dealing with nations outside of our community to get the things that we so desperately need. All right. And as long as we let the Ruach guide us where we need to go, we can get it done as a family. All right. So thank you, family, for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Nisi's asking me to pray out, so I'll pray out real quick. Shout out to Gabrielle, Shao Yahawada in the building. If I missed anybody for a shout out, just hit 2. Let me shout you out real quick before I close out. Just hit 2 real quick so I can shout you out before I close out. Hit 2 real quick so I can shout you out before I close, because some of us got to go to sleep. All right, some of us got to go to work tomorrow, man. And that's the thing I love about you. Y'all committed, man. Y'all, when y'all see that notification, man, y'all wake up, y'all wipe the sleep out your eyes, and, you know, get up out the bed with your spouse to come and sit and watch this. Man, yo, I love y'all, family. I love y'all. But definitely hit 2 if I missed anybody want a quick shout out before we close out. I'll say a quick prayer because it was requested, so I'll do that. But I don't see no 2s going up, so I don't see nobody that really wants a shout out. So with that, dear Ab Yahu, we come to your throne of grace to say thank you for another evening. Thank you for life, health, and strength, goodness, grace, and your mercy, Most High Yah. We thank you for this opportunity for us to congregate together and build and edify one another. We thank you for the discussion that commenced much earlier in regards to should Israelites identify with RBG, and allowing that discussion to be amicable even amidst its heated moments, Most High Yah. Most High Yah, we want to continue to be the keepers for our brothers and sisters, so please provide the opportunities for us to show forth your character and be the vessel of extension for you to those brothers and sisters. Let us showcase a form of a hab to cover a multitude of sins, Most High Yah, so we can cover and protect each other, because we are all we got, Most High Yah, in this walk, Most High Yah. We love you, we thank you, we honor you, and we praise you, Most High Yah. We want to continue to do what we do for you. You allow us to use whatever avenues is necessary to build your people up, Most High Yah, so we become a close-knit community, Most High Yah, so we can become autonomous, Most High Yah, so that way we could be distinct from the nations and ethnic groups that surround us, Most High Yah, so they can identify that we are yours, Most High Yah, and that you are ours, Most High Yah. We want to put you on display, Most High Yah. We want to represent you, Most High Yah. We pray that in our times of vulnerability that you will lift us up, that you will support us, that you would put us in a position, Most High Yah, so you may cover certain things about our slip-ups, so that way it is not made public, so that you can deal with us in private, Most High Yah. I pray that you will touch all those who are here right now at this moment, Most High Yah, with whatever needs that they have. I pray that you will meet it so they can become greater servants for you, Yah, and to those around the Most High Yah. We love you, we honor, we praise you, and we glorify you, Yah. We submit to your heavenly name, Yah. Baruch Hashem, Yah. Hallelujah. All right. So thank you, family, for watching. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully this Friday, when Freestyle Friday goes down, or at the very least when Saturday Night Live goes down. Definitely subscribe to Maccabees TV, because I'll be on there a little more often to help build up the platform. Those of you who are watching this that enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the discussion that we have on today. Shout out to Some of the Times TV HQ in the building. Shemuel, Yechekziel, or Ezekiel, Yehuda. I think I got everybody except for those 2. I don't think I shout them out. Shemuel and Sign of the Times. And I'll see you again, family. All right. I love y'all. Peace, shalom, and sleep soundly, family. Layla Tov.